Hi everyone, I'm Mr. Milestone and my channel is all about finding your passion, fulfilling your potential and achieving your goals. This is another episode of my Made It series where I interview people from different backgrounds, different fields. They tell us how they came up and hopefully it will help inspire you. And today I'm joined by a very special guest. She's a senior figure at global broadcaster Channel 4, a real champion for diversity, inclusion and representation in media, and she's an all-round industry legend. So please welcome Maria St. Louise. Maria, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you? That was a great intro. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you. Really, thank you for joining me today. Really looking forward to this one. So Maria, could you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so about me, I guess I grew up in Hackney. You know, I'm the youngest of three kids. I've got two older brothers, and I'm the little big sister, as I'm known. I come from a large Dominican family, so I'm the first generation of my family to be born in this country. But and I've been working at Channel 4 for 17 years. So I've spent majority of my time, and I still am very heavily involved with the commercial department. And recently I've moved into inclusion and diversity. So that's kind of like just looking at inclusion and diversity and representation across the channels, so how we can kind of build collaborative relationships. Often you find in organisations, you know, you work in silos essentially in your departments, but the key to the beauty of the creativity that happens at Channel 4 is when we all come together and when everyone comes behind an initiative and works, and it's kind of filters around cross departments. So yeah, I'm really pleased to be working in inclusion and diversity at Channel 4.
Amazing. And look, you've had a wonderful career journey, but can we just take it back and can you tell us how you first got into media? Was it always a dream of yours, or did you just kind of fall into it?
No, so I always wanted to work in the media. I wasn't really sure which part of the media, to be honest with you. I think I'd have loved to have been a presenter. I'd have loved to have been on screen and stuff like that. But then I think the whole reason why I wanted to work in the media was just because I wanted to be able to make a difference. Because, you know, like seeing yourself on screen is really important. And so I wanted to be able to be a part of that essentially. And I studied media studies at college because, I mean, it wasn't something that was readily available. I don't know if that's changed for the younger generation now, but it wasn't readily available at school when I was at school. So I had a real interest to find out more about it, having studied like sociology and being really quite interested in like the humanities type subjects, but went to college, did media studies, and then went on to do media arts and marketing. So it was from there that my kind of interest in marketing and advertising kind of really came about essentially. And yeah, I decided that at that point, I think in university, that this was the area that I wanted to get into. But likewise, it was that I wanted to work for a company that, you know, had values that were aligned with my own values, and Channel 4 being an organisation that was set up, like a broadcast that was set up to represent diversity and to bring alternative views and give them a platform. So that really resonated with me, and I kind of like made that my mission to work at Channel 4. And so yeah, I've been there a very long time now.
Woo! No, I think you're doing amazing. Clearly everyone can see that. And then I think, you know, just switching gears a little bit, I think, you know, getting into media for me, I feel like it's so difficult for a black person or anyone really from an ethnic minority background. One of those barriers being a lack of representation both on screen and in the boardroom. How did you find it stepping into media with, you know, all of these factors in mind?
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, you know, I completely hear those challenges, and they really do exist. And, you know, but as a black woman and growing up in Hackney has always been, you know, it's always been diverse. I have friends and always have had friends from different ethnic groups, whether that be my own or others, you know. And I was never unfamiliar to being the only person that looked like me in a room and in an example, whether that be at school, although whilst my school was diverse, you know, I was never the majority. I was always a minority. You know, like my family in Dominica have different experiences because growing up there, you know, you are a majority. You're used to being around people that all look like you, so you never maybe question yourself, your identity. And so I think a sense of self, a sense of who you are, like your values. As long as you're able to hold on to that and remember that always, you know, you're able to navigate in any industry. And so I kind of joined, but wasn't wasn't surprised perhaps to see that I was the only person, and I wasn't the only person in the department. There was one other when I first joined. There was one other black lady, but other than that, it was just me. She'd been there a while. I was new, so I wasn't surprised, and kind of I think you build up a layer of kind of resilience where you're actually able to navigate and accept and feel comfortable in knowing that you are the only one, which actually there's a work to be done in changing that, but the fact is that is kind of that was the environment, and being able to just still feel confident within yourself and navigate that is really, really, really quite key.
And you touched on some of them there, but what other challenges did you face along the way? And really, actually, what helped you stay, persistent? What helped you keep going? So you talked about resilience. Was there anything else that helped you keep going in this type of environment?
Yeah, so I think like my upbringing. I mean, if you have a sense of self and you've got like a supportive family, which I do have, you're able to remain grounded. You're able to remain who you are at your core whilst navigating in a world that perhaps, and an industry that perhaps, is, when you're seeing success or the successful people, they're not looking like you, thinking, well, I've got to be like that. And you find yourself being able to be almost like being a chameleon, like being able to wear many hats, many jackets, and actually kind of and fitting in. And I think when I first joined, I was just so happy. And I think maybe a lot of people from ethnic minority backgrounds can relate in that I was just happy to kind of to get in, but at the same time I didn't expect to not get in. I don't know if you saw the Channel 4 program that aired last year, The Talk, which is about what black parents, the conversations that they have to have with their children to kind of armor them with being able to face the world, so whether that be in the media industry or any industry, to be fair, just literally being in the world, right? But if I'm honest, my mum kind of didn't give me that talk as I saw it on the screen, although I could completely relate to it and I had heard of that talk. But my mum's talk to me was really, you can be whoever it is that you want to be, and you can, like, hard work, you can actually, and that was part of the talk today, hard work, and you can get whatever you want. But what it really started with was believing that you could. And I think if you believe that you can, then you will push through. But if you doubt, and it can be difficult because sometimes people don't have supportive parents, or they don't have a community of people that are going to uplift them and make them actually believe, and you then rely on external factors to determine what you can do and define who you are, and you're not kind of solid in who you are. But even in having that kind of core balance of who I am, where I come from, what I stand for, it still is challenging, because when you're doing what you believe to be a good job, you're working hard, but then perhaps you don't get the recognition for what you feel that you should, the effort that you've put in, you're not getting necessarily the recognition. But actually, it's in those times that you really still need to dig deep and actually put yourself forward. And so, yeah, that's my focus, if I'm honest with you. And by being, I would say I've transitioned from where I'm just like happy to be in the industry. I'm actually happy. I'm only comfortable being able to be my authentic self. And I think when you enter into any industry, whether it, like for me, it's the media, obviously, but any industry, the first thing is really to kind of get to know what it is that you're doing. So once you know what you're doing, then you are able, then always know that for you to be able to present who you are, not to filter who you are, kind of be your authentic self and have a voice. Don't be afraid to use your voice, but speak up and have an opinion, because the idea that, if the CEO was to ask you a question, like, you're just going to say something that you think that's what they want to hear. Actually, I think the person that the CEO is going to remember is the person that actually had an opinion on something. And whilst professionalism is key, actually being the CEO of your own life, I think that's really important. So you, rather than faking it until you make it, you're actually thinking about making it on your own terms. And I think that then leads you to define success for yourself, because success for some people is a position, is a title, is their salary, and all these things like that matters and is significant for your career. But I think the influence that you're able to bring, and also the perspective that you're able to bring, and actually to make people think things in a different way and think, oh, I've not heard of that before. I've never thought of things that way. That for me that also determines success. The success shouldn't just be the position, the title. I think it's got to be more integral than that, where integrity is actually a real part of that.
Wow, so many amazing nuggets to unpack there. I hope you're taking notes, because this is real gold here. So you've obviously had this wonderful 17-year journey at Channel 4. How would you compare your experiences from, back then to now? Would you say you've developed a real sense of belonging?
Yeah, I absolutely would. As I mentioned before, when I got the job at Channel 4, I was just really, really pleased, and I'm still so proud to work for a company that really does champion diversity, and in fact was set up for that. But you're learning, so you're learning from those people that are there already, like the way that things are done, I guess, and that's the same with any company I can imagine. But then the sense of belonging that I genuinely have is where not only am I understanding how the business of Channel 4's works, but and I guess I would take this with me to any other organisation, is that actually I also recognise the value in my opinion. I have a thought on things, and not always is it the standard thing that everybody people may all agree on something, but actually agreeing on things is nice. But if we were all just kind of in a comfort place where we all thought the same, looked the same, did the same thing, where's the growth in that? So I feel kind of privileged and honoured, really, to be able to embed myself into an organisation and actually have my views, my perspective actually taken into consideration, and actually being that voice for change and for increased representation. So yeah, to say, has my sense of belonging increased? Yeah, it definitely has, because I feel like I found my place within the organisation and have found a voice, a unique voice that that kind of spans through lots of the work that we're doing.
I love that. And I guess if I'm thinking of today, I think it's fair to say pop culture has heavily been influenced by black people. I feel like a lot of us have been blessed with a natural creativity. However, many of us can't really see a path to success in media. Do you feel like enough's being done to address this?
So, I mean, there's lots of stuff that is being done, but has the needle shifted? Not entirely. I mean, I don't know if you've heard about the big cultural intervention that we're doing at Channel 4, which is it's literally called Black to Front. If you sign up, if you go to the 4's website, you can actually sign up to it and watch it back, because it went out on Wednesday. It was a live event, brilliant event, and it's a brilliant initiative. So we're looking at basically a day in September having all black talent on screen, off screen, and really ramping up the profile, the representation, the exposure for black talent, because there is lots of black talent out there, and the idea or the concept or the thought even that the talent pool isn't there, it's not true. As you touched on, I think by default and just who is ingrained in who we are just creative as a community. But the opportunity is essentially what's been lacking, and what we're trying to do is really create massive opportunity and to showcase the talent that already exists, but also giving new opportunities to people that haven't perhaps had it before. And it's not just about the day, because I can appreciate, and it was the knee-jerk reaction from the industry and from people with the initiative, isn't that a bit tokenistic? And it could be if it was just the day, and then the next day everything goes back to normal. But it's really about building a lasting legacy and seeing how we can really change and shift the dial so far that it really never goes back. So that's really, really exciting for me. And within that, the idea and the reality of us trying to create the same offering within the commercial space. So where we've got programming featuring all black talent throughout the day, it's bringing that same energy, that same commitment to advertising, and ensuring that the advertising reflects the content that's actually being aired out on the day. And again, with that is legacy. So there were so many brands out there that have said that they want to be a part of the change. And with the year that we had last year, like where we had a pandemic with COVID-19, but then everybody globally was saying Black Lives Matter after George Floyd's brutal murder, which to be fair wasn't the first time that had happened, but it was the first time that the world had stood still and was able to actually see, feel, process what happened and to actually make a united stand. So brands are really interested in making that change. So this is an opportunity, you know, if there are brands out here, if they hear this podcast and they're wanting to be a part of that, you know, get in touch, because it really is about shifting that needle where actually everybody can thrive in our industry. So I feel there is a lot being done. There is so much more to be done, but like the Brim, I don't know, another initiative that I'm really kind of like keen on and like really focused on at Channel 4 is the Brim framework, so Black representation in marketing, where it's about turning intention into action, basically, because there is a lot of intention, but it's using that intention, making it actionable. That's how we kind of make the change, right? So I feel like we are heading in that direction. We are in that space, and it's now that we're going to kind of see that needle shifting.
Wow,
so
I love
it.
Yeah, no, I am now after hearing this. Hopefully you are too. So I'll add links to those initiatives in the description, so check them out and sign up if you're interested. Yeah, definitely sounds like something worth signing up for. And then I guess if you had like one career highlight that you're super proud of that you want to share with us today, what would that be?
So for me, I've got to say there's many, and I think right now it's been really, it's that unique thing that's happened for me at Channel 4 is from moving in from one space, which is the commercial space, then into the inclusion and diversity space, which is in the corporate space. But it's that ability to have believed in myself and kind of show myself for who I am, what I can achieve, and navigate from one space to another. But if I was to think just of my whole just career, my biggest achievement, the thing that I'm most proud of, for me, it would have to be the Wackle Future Leaders Award that I got given in 2018.
Ooh, amazing.
So I had, in working in the industry for quite some time, I hadn't actually heard of Wackle. Like I hadn't heard of it. And Wackles, if you don't know, it stands for Women in Advertising Communications London. And it's a big industry body that for women in those fields to kind of come together and support each other. It's a massive community, but I hadn't heard of it. And when I did, it was through NABS, through an event called Wackle Gather, which was basically just an amazing event, had great speakers, all women, like all ethnicity. It was brilliant. It was packed out. And I was like, how have I not heard of this before? And there were some past winners that were on there talking about their journey in their careers and then to get in the Wackle Future Leaders Award. And I was sat in there going, I'm getting that. And I came back to work going like, right, I want that. And I approached the subject about getting put forward for it. It's pretty much a competition. Like you've got to put yourself forward along with all women within the industry, and but you need to get support from your organisation. And at first, because we'd never done it before, it wasn't a straight yes. And I was like, okay. And then I went and sat at my desk and I was like, no, actually, it's not okay. I want to get put forward for it. We might not have done it before, but let's do it. And I really convinced them to let me go. They supported me, and I went for it, and I went for it with the intention that I was only going to get it, and I left there feeling so proud that I was going to get it, and I got it out of I think it was like about 1,000 people that had applied for it, and there was less than 50 spaces, and I got one, and then I went off to Cambridge University, the Judge Business School, and did a Rising Female Leader program, and yeah, that was a really proud moment, because not only did I win it and get through the first two stages of that process, managed to go to Cambridge University, but it kind of showed me that when you don't just accept your first no, or if something is a no, if you kind of pick yourself up and go, actually no, and you fight for yourself, you believe in yourself, you can achieve your dreams, you can achieve whatever it is that you've got planned for your life, and just realizing that your destiny is in your hands. And that for me, that was my light bulb moment, that I was like, yeah, good on me. I'm like, I did that, and that was a really proud moment.
Ooh, I love that. So you are the master of your own destiny. Don't take no for an answer. Take it in your own hands and go for it, and then that's how you'll achieve success. I love that. That's so inspirational. It's put a big smile on my face. Yeah. And congratulations again on the award. I'm sure there are many more to come in the future. So do you mind sharing with us and everyone watching who or what inspires you?
So, I mean, I get inspiration from so many people. When I think about in the industry, the person that inspires me the most, I think I'm just a bit in awe of her, would have to be like Karen Blackett. I think most Black women, or a lot of Black women, there are so many Black women that are doing amazing things in our industry. Karen is someone that I've spoken to, that I've had her involved in events that I've done, and I'm just like, she's amazing. But then on a personal level, if I was to say who inspires me, it's got to be my children. I've got two daughters. They're both very different, Olivia and Sophia. One's 9, one's 5, but they inspire me to be better and to be best and to not be afraid, to be brave, to be bold, and the fact that my eldest daughter Olivia says to me that her role models are Harriet Tubman and me, I'm like, well, that's a high place to be putting me in. So the fact that they're looking up to me, they literally think that I'm serious. Like, they keep asking me, Mum, when are you going to be on telly at Channel 4? And I'm like, that's not quite my role. But they're like, the fact that they're looking up to me makes me really, that gives me a lot of inspiration, a lot of drive, and yeah.
I love that. That's so heartwarming. That is, brilliant to hear, and I love that. And I guess, Maria, for everyone watching, how can they find you and connect with you and continue to follow your journey throughout your career?
So I'm on most media platforms, or social media platforms, I should say. I'm on Twitter. You can catch me on Twitter. You can get me on LinkedIn. You can get me on Facebook. I'm pretty much all over. Instagram. So if you find me, look me up, Maria St. Louis, add me, or it might be Mel St. Louis, because that's my nickname within my family. But check me out, add me, let's have a conversation.
Brilliant. Well, thank you, Maria. I really enjoyed this session. It was very inspirational, heartwarming, with loads of nuggets to take away. If you enjoyed this video, please comment below if you've got any questions for Maria, or if you want to see more videos like this. And if you haven't already, subscribe, because I've got lots more content to come. So thanks for watching, and let's keep chasing those goals.